Hey everyone, I'm here to talk to you about the new Fantastic Four movie. If you haven't seen this movie yet, this video will contain spoilers, so I'm warning you ahead of time. Alright, let's jump into this. I went to see this movie with high hopes. I really had high hopes for this movie. I was waiting for it to come out. Even after all the hiccups and stuff they were releasing about it, I was still hoping this movie would at least be decent, on par with the other two movies that came out before it. That was not the case. This movie had me ready to leave the theater. I literally had to sit in my seat and hoping that this movie would get a little better as it progressed. That didn't happen at all. This movie just seemed really rushed, and it didn't it didn't really feel Fantastic Four. It felt really gritty, and I know all these movies are trying to make their superheroes a little bit darker or trying to do something dark with them, but it just didn't feel like Fantastic Four to me. To me, this story felt rushed. We've seen these movies where they rush the origin, and this one rushed the origin, rushed the story, rushed everything. This movie was really fast paced to get where it was going, and it really didn't get anywhere. They introduce the characters, they get their powers, they get a couple time skips, and then they face their villain. That's pretty much what this movie, all wrapped up into a little bundle, that's what this movie is. If you weren't following this movie, you might have gotten lost at some point, because this movie can lose you. I'm a witness that this movie, if you aren't paying attention, you will get lost. It's just I don't want to call it that bad. I really liked the Fantastic Four, and it was really upsetting to watch this movie. And I'm going to explain a couple of things that I didn't like about the movie. One thing was how they got their powers. Alright, I knew they weren't going to go into space. I knew they were using a teleporter to get to Planet Zero, or I called it the negative zone while I was watching it. So they get their powers from Planet Zero by being exposed in Planet Zero, but Sue doesn't go with them. She doesn't go with them. She's piggybacking on Earth, and she gets her powers by being backlashed by them returning to Earth from Planet Zero. So that was kind of a little upsetting for me. Like I said, I'm a Fantastic Four fan. We all know they all get their powers together, and it just that kind of irked me. Being a Fantastic Four fan, you can't kind of change that part of the story and not be upset about it. All right, them being held in military custody was another upsetting part. We know Johnny Storm can burn through practically anything, and they had him held down. I don't know what they had him held down with. They just pretty much had him strapped down while they were experimenting on him. Like, how do you do that? You don't contain Johnny Storm. You can't contain Ben Grimm. It's not okay. I can understand if you had known Ben Grimm and you had been preparing for him to have a cell ready for him, but no, not no ordinary jail cell is not gonna hold Ben Grimm. I don't believe it. That didn't pass for me at all. And Reed was stuck. Okay, they were trying to get it to like they were just exposed to their powers. They didn't know how to control them, but it just seemed really stretched for me, and I was like, ugh. If you know Ben Grimm, if you just got turned into the Thing, I don't think you're going to sit in a jail cell while people test on you and try to figure out what happened to you. I don't think you're going to do that at all. You're Johnny Storm. You're going to try to figure out what's going on. You're not going to sit strapped down to a table and have people experiment on you for, you know, that's just not, it was really stretched for me, and I did not believe that at all. Another thing is Reed decided he was going to figure out his powers and dip out. That didn't sit well with me at all. These, maybe it was because they weren't really a team. If you watch the other movies, you see that they were already a team when they went to went to outer space. They were already a team. They already knew each other and all of that. These guys didn't know each other really at all, except, Sue Storm and Johnny Storm are brother and sister, and Ben Grimm and Reed Richards are best friends. That's the relationships on all of them. They didn't really come together until the end of the movie that they were actually a team. So that kind of was upsetting about the movie, that Reed Richards just abandoned the Fantastic Four. Even though they really weren't the Fantastic Four at the time, it's just kind of, we know Reed Richards wouldn't abandon his friends and family, even though they're not the Fantastic Four yet. I know I keep coming back to that. That was the main part of it, that they aren't the Fantastic Four. They're just four individuals with powers right now. Four individuals who got caught in an experiment and have powers now. They aren't the Fantastic Four at all. Not at all. And then we get to the crappy fight scene. Reed Richards has been on the run for a year. Like Bruce Banner, he's hiding out he's just hiding out. So we actually get to the point where they track him down and they send Ben after him. Everybody who knows Ben Grimm knows that him and Reed might have their problems, but you're not going to send Ben Grimm after Reed, and that's just not going to happen. You're not going to send the Thing after Reed Richards. They're too close for that. But anyways, he was upset that Reed had left him, and they throw a couple blows, and the Thing just knocks him out. Okay, Reed Richards has the power to, stretch. Did we just forget that point, or was he just solid at the point that when he got headbutted that he got knocked out? I don't see that happening, but alright, it happened and we just move on. So they get Reed Richards back, and he has to fix the transporter that got them to Planet Zero from the get-go, because the military wants to create more superpowered beings. So Reed fixes this up, and they go to Planet Zero, and guess who's waiting for him? Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom's waiting for him because he was left. When they get their powers, he gets ditched into the Planet Zero, negative zone, whatever you want to call it. He gets ditched at that point in time, and they just leave him there, and he's been sitting there for a whole year absorbing Planet Zero's power. So they decided it was a good idea to bring him back. So we know who Doctor Doom is. We know his character. And these guys know who they're dealing with also. So they think that Doctor Doom is going to tell them how to get more powers. He's been there for the years, so he knows every nook and cranny of this planet at all. That's not on Doctor Doom's schedule. He decides that he's going to wipe all these guys out, and he's going to take the planet with him, because we don't deserve to live, you guys. Earth doesn't deserve to live. We've destroyed the planet, and he's going to take it out. So this is where it comes to the point where I'm like, if you weren't paying attention, you weren't going to get this part at all. I know a couple people in the theater were confused at what he did. I had to explain it to a couple people. At the beginning of the movie, when they start working on the first teleporter, Doctor Doom makes a joke about how that Reed could have blew up the whole planet just by making this in his garage. So that's what Doctor Doom does. He decides he's going to use the same machine to blow up the planet. So, no really Doctor Doom plan here. Nothing sinister about it. He just, it's like, alright, I'm going to turn this machine into a doomsday machine. Alright. So then we get to the second. This is the boss battle, you guys. We get to where they actually come together as a team and we start fighting, and we they just tussle with Doctor Doom and Planet Zero, and it's really not even a fight. You get Johnny Storm going after him, you get Sue going after him, you get Ben going after him, and then Reed goes after him, and they can see that they're not going to win unless they team up, so they team up, and then they defeat Doctor Doom. That's pretty much the fight. It wasn't anything spectacular. Oh, we do get it's clobbering time right at the end, so, everybody was excited about that. That made me jump in my seat a little. About time we got a catchphrase, and that movie was just, I'm sorry, you guys. I know we were hoping for something at least decent. We weren't hoping for anything crazy, but we were hoping for something decent, and they didn't even deliver that. And I don't think this had anything to do with the actors. The actors did a pretty good job from what they were given. I heard that they had to chop a lot of the movie, they were editing it a lot, and hopefully we get a director's cut and we get to see what they took out, because they took out a lot. There's stuff that was on the commercials that weren't even in this movie. So hopefully we get a director's cut probably in a year or something after the movie releases, and then a couple months after that, hopefully we get a director's cut. They honestly should just give us the director's cut first release. They shouldn't even wait on it, because we need to see what they took out, because supposedly they took out a lot of stuff that we need to see so we can better judge this movie, because as of right now it's not looking good for this one. But they have decided to go ahead. They're thinking about doing the sequel, so hopefully, since they've laid this ground with this movie, they do a better job in the second movie, and I'm hoping for more from this. They're talking about, hopefully they're mashing up with different characters from different movies, so hopefully this happens, and this is just a try, a trial and error. Hopefully we get something better. I'm hoping we get something better. This is like the age for superhero movies, so hopefully we get something better down the line. Alright, you guys, that's all I gotta tell you. Hopefully you guys enjoy the movie, or if you didn't enjoy the movie, let me know. Let me know what you found wrong with the movie, and just leave it in the comments. You guys are awesome, and see you guys.